Before we dive into today's shocking tale of family betrayal and sweet revenge, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Join our community of justice seekers who believe that karma always finds its way. If you love stories where betrayal meets its match, and the truth always comes to light, you are in the right place. Now let me tell you about the day I discovered my perfect sister was not so perfect after all, and how I made sure everyone else found out too. Growing up in the Morrison household, I had always been the shadow to my sister Victoria's blazing sun. She was 3 years older, effortlessly beautiful, academically brilliant, and socially gifted. While I struggled through high school with average grades and a small circle of friends, Victoria sailed through as valedictorian, prom queen, and the girl everyone wanted to be or be with. My parents, Robert and Eleanor Morrison, had made their favoritism crystal clear from the moment I could understand words. Victoria was their golden child, their pride and joy, their ticket to social status in our affluent neighborhood. I was just Janet, the younger daughter who could not quite measure up, no matter how hard I tried. "Why cannot you be more like Victoria?" became my mother's favorite refrain whenever I brought home a B+ instead of an A, or when I chose to spend Saturday nights reading instead of attending parties. My father, a successful investment banker, would nod approvingly whenever Victoria mentioned her plans to follow in his footsteps in finance, while barely glancing up from his newspaper when I talked about my interest in psychology. The inequity was not just emotional. When Victoria turned 16, she received a brand new BMW convertible, wrapped in a giant red bow in our driveway. When my 16th birthday arrived, I got a used Honda Civic with a dent in the rear bumper and a radio that only worked on Thursdays. Victoria's college fund was robust enough to cover 4 years at any Ivy League school, while I was told I would need to work hard for scholarships if I wanted to attend university. Despite the obvious disparity in treatment, I genuinely loved my sister. Victoria had a way of making me feel included when our parents were not around. She would share stories about her friends, give me fashion advice, and occasionally defend me when our parents were being particularly harsh. I thought she cared about me, that beneath the golden exterior was a sister who understood the pain of growing up in the shadow of perfection. That illusion shattered on a cold December evening during my senior year of high school. I had been working tirelessly on my college applications, staying up late to perfect my essays and gather recommendation letters. I was determined to prove that I could succeed despite my parents' lack of faith in me. That night, I was in my father's study, using his printer to make final copies of my application materials. As I waited for the documents to print, I heard voices coming from the hallway. My parents were talking in hushed tones with Victoria, who was home from her first year at Harvard Business School for winter break. "She is never going to amount to anything." My mother's voice drifted through the partially open door. "Her grades are mediocre, her activities are uninspiring, and she lacks the drive that Victoria has always shown." "Eleanor is right," my father agreed. "We should not waste money on Janet's education when she is clearly not college material. Victoria, on the other hand, is already making connections that will benefit our family for years to come." My heart sank, but I was not entirely surprised by their words. What came next, however, was like a knife through my chest. Victoria's voice, sweet and concerned as always, joined the conversation. "Actually, Mom and Dad, I think you should know something about Janet's college applications." I held my breath, hoping my sister was about to defend me. "I have been helping her with her essays," Victoria continued. "And I have to say, I am worried about her chances. She is applying to schools that are far above her capabilities. I think she is setting herself up for disappointment." "What do you mean?" my father asked. "Well," Victoria said, and I could hear the false concern dripping from her voice, "she is applying to Georgetown, Northwestern, and several other competitive schools. She asked me to review her personal statement, and honestly it was embarrassing. The writing was juvenile, the ideas were scattered, and she clearly does not understand what these schools are looking for." My blood boiled. Victoria had not helped me with my essays at all. In fact, I had been too proud to ask for her assistance, determined to succeed on my own merit. I tried to gently suggest that she apply to more realistic options, Victoria went on. But she became defensive and accused me of not believing in her. I worry that when she gets rejected from all these schools, it will confirm what she already suspects about herself. What do you mean? My mother asked. That she will never be good enough, Victoria said with fake sadness. That she will always be second best. I love my sister, but I think it might be better for everyone if she focused on more practical goals. Maybe community college or a trade school. I felt as though the ground had opened up beneath me. This was my sister, the person I had looked up to my entire life, casually demolishing my dreams and ambitions to our parents. She was not trying to protect me from disappointment. She was ensuring that I would never have the chance to succeed in the first place. You are probably right, my father said with a sigh. We should have a conversation with Janet about being more realistic with her expectations. I think that would be wise, Victoria agreed. I just hate seeing her set herself up for failure. Maybe we should consider limiting her college options for her own good. I could not listen to another word. I gathered my application materials, turned off the printer, and crept back to my room, my mind racing with anger and betrayal. Victoria had not just failed to support me. She had actively sabotaged my chances by poisoning our parents' already low opinion of my abilities. That night, I lay in bed planning my revenge. It would not be immediate or obvious. I needed to be strategic, patient, and thorough. Victoria thought she could destroy my future while maintaining her perfect image. I would show her that the quiet, overlooked sister had been paying attention all along. Over the next few months, I began my investigation into Victoria's perfect life. I started small, paying attention to details I had previously ignored. I noticed that she received frequent phone calls that she would take privately in her room. She was defensive about her phone and laptop, never leaving them unattended when she was home. Most tellingly, she had started receiving mail at our house addressed to different names. During spring break of my senior year, when Victoria was home from Harvard, I got my first major breakthrough. She had left her laptop open on the kitchen counter while she went to take a shower. I had maybe 15 minutes before she would return, so I moved quickly. I found emails that painted a very different picture of my perfect sister. Victoria was not just studying at Harvard. She was running an elaborate cheating scheme. She had been selling completed assignments, test answers, and even writing entire papers for her classmates at extravagant prices. But that was just the beginning. She had been using false identities to apply for multiple scholarships, grants, and even student loans that she was not entitled to. She had created fake transcripts, forged recommendation letters, and fabricated community service records. The money she was making from these schemes was substantial. Tens of thousands of dollars that she was hiding from our parents and the government. But the most shocking discovery was her relationship status. Victoria had been dating a professor, Dr. James Hamilton, who was married with 2 children. The emails revealed not just an affair, but a transaction. Victoria was receiving favorable grades and academic recommendations in exchange for sexual favors. Dr. Hamilton was also helping her manipulate her academic records and providing her with test materials in advance. I took screenshots of everything I could find, uploading them to a secure cloud storage account. I also discovered that Victoria had been stealing from our parents. She had access to one of my father's business credit cards, supposedly for emergency expenses during school. However, she had been using it for shopping sprees, expensive dinners, and even weekend trips with Dr. Hamilton. As I delved deeper into Victoria's digital life over the following weeks, the scope of her deception became clear. She was not the brilliant, hardworking student our parents believed her to be. She was a fraud, a cheat, and a thief. Everything she had achieved was built on lies, manipulation, and criminal activity. The irony was delicious. While my parents and Victoria herself had spent years telling me I would never amount to anything, she had only succeeded by cheating and stealing. I, on the other hand, had been accepted to Georgetown University on my own merit, with a partial scholarship I had earned through my genuine achievements. I decided to wait until Victoria's graduation from Harvard to reveal the truth. I wanted her to feel as though she had reached the pinnacle of her success before I brought her crashing down. The timing would be perfect. A family celebration where all of our extended family friends, and Victoria's classmates would be present. During Victoria's final semester, I continued gathering evidence. I created fake social media accounts to connect with some of her Harvard classmates, subtly gathering information about her cheating schemes. I discovered that she was not the only one involved. There was an entire network of students participating in academic fraud, with Victoria as one of the key organizers. I also hired a private investigator using money I had saved from my part-time job. The investigator was able to confirm the affair with Dr. Hamilton and discovered that Victoria was pregnant with his child. She had been hiding the pregnancy from everyone, including Dr. Hamilton, and was planning to terminate it quietly after graduation. By May, I had compiled a comprehensive dossier of Victoria's crimes and deceptions. I had bank records, email exchanges, photographs, academic records, medical records, and witness testimonies. I had enough evidence to not only ruin her reputation, but to send her to prison. Victoria's graduation was scheduled for a Saturday afternoon in late May. Our parents had planned an elaborate celebration at our house for that evening, inviting over 50 guests, including grandparents, aunts, uncles, family friends, and several of Victoria's Harvard classmates. They had hired caterers, decorated the backyard with twinkling lights, and even arranged for a photographer to document their golden child's achievement. The morning of graduation, I received a phone call that would add the perfect finishing touch to my revenge. Dr. Hamilton's wife, Margaret, had somehow discovered the affair and was planning to confront Victoria publicly at the graduation ceremony. She had contacted me after finding my name and number in her husband's phone records. I persuaded Margaret to wait until the evening celebration at our house, where the impact would be even greater. I promised her that she would have a receptive audience, and that justice would be served in the most humiliating way possible. The graduation ceremony proceeded without incident. Victoria walked across the stage in her cap and gown, accepting her diploma with a radiant smile. Our parents beamed with pride, taking countless photos and videos. I played my part, applauding and smiling, all while knowing that their joy would be short-lived. The evening celebration was in full swing by 7 o'clock. Victoria was the center of attention, wearing a stunning white dress that ironically made her look like a bride. She was surrounded by admiring relatives and friends, accepting congratulations and talking about her bright future in finance. I waited until the perfect moment, when our father was giving a toast about Victoria's achievements and promising future. He spoke about her integrity, her work ethic, and how proud he was to have such an accomplished daughter. The entire party was focused on him, glasses raised in Victoria's honor. "I would like to add something to that toast," I announced, standing up with my wine glass in hand. All eyes turned to me, and I saw Victoria's face brighten with what she probably thought was sisterly affection. "Victoria has indeed accomplished so much," I began, my voice carrying across the silent crowd. "In fact, she has accomplished far more than any of us realized." I reached into my purse and pulled out a thick manila envelope. "I have here documentation of just how creative my sister has been during her time at Harvard." The smile faded from Victoria's face as she realized where this was heading. Our father lowered his glass, confusion evident in his expression. "For instance," I continued, opening the envelope and extracting a printed email. "Here is an email where Victoria discusses selling a completed economics assignment to a classmate for $1,500. And here," I pulled out another document, "is a bank statement showing deposits totaling over $40,000 from various academic fraud schemes." The crowd was completely silent now. Victoria's face had gone pale, and she was shaking her head frantically. "Janet, what are you doing?" my mother hissed, but I ignored her. "But that is not all," I said cheerfully. "Victoria has also been having an affair with her married professor, Dr. James Hamilton. I have photos, emails, and even hotel receipts documenting their relationship." At that moment, as if on cue, Margaret Hamilton appeared at the back patio door. I had given her instructions on when to make her entrance, and her timing was perfect. "Dr. Hamilton is my husband," Margaret announced to the stunned crowd. "And yes, he has been having an affair with this woman." She pointed directly at Victoria. "An affair that has cost him his job, our marriage, and his children's respect." Victoria finally found her voice. "This is insane. Janet is lying. She has always been jealous of me, and now she is trying to ruin my life." Am I lying? I asked sweetly. I pulled out my laptop and connected it to the television screen that our parents had set up for the photo slideshow. Within moments, Victoria's own emails were displayed for everyone to see. The crowd watched in horror as I scrolled through evidence of academic fraud, theft, and adultery. I showed bank statements revealing the stolen money, academic records that had been falsified, and intimate emails between Victoria and Dr. Hamilton. "Janet, stop this immediately," my father commanded, but his voice lacked conviction. He was staring at the screen, watching his perfect daughter's life unravel before his eyes. Victoria tried to run, but I had anticipated this. I blocked her path and continued my presentation. "There is more," I announced. "Victoria is also pregnant with Dr. Hamilton's child, which she has been hiding from everyone, including him." Margaret Hamilton gasped and lunged toward Victoria, but several guests held her back. Victoria collapsed into a chair, sobbing uncontrollably. "How could you do this?" my mother screamed at Victoria. "How could you embarrass our family like this?" The irony was not lost on me. After years of being told I was the disappointment, the failure, the one who would never amount to anything, I was watching my parents direct their anger and shame toward their precious golden child. But I was not finished. I had saved the best for last. "Finally," I said, "I want everyone to know that while Victoria was building her success on lies and theft, I was accepted to Georgetown University on my own merit. I will be starting in the fall with a partial scholarship that I earned through my genuine achievements." The silence that followed was deafening. Victoria had stopped crying and was staring at me with a mixture of hatred and disbelief. Our parents looked shell-shocked, as though they could not process what they had just learned. One by one, the guests began to leave. Some offered me words of support or congratulations on my acceptance to Georgetown. Others simply collected their belongings and departed without comment. The celebration that was supposed to honor Victoria's achievements had become a public humiliation that would follow her for the rest of her life. After the last guest had left, my family sat in the devastated backyard, surrounded by the debris of what should have been a joyous celebration. Victoria was still in her white dress, now stained with tears and wine. My parents looked as though they had aged 10 years in the span of 2 hours. "Why?" my father asked quietly. "Why would you destroy your sister like this?" I looked at him with the same calm demeanor I had maintained throughout the evening. "Because she tried to destroy me first. You all did." I stood up to leave, but turned back for one final statement. "You spent my entire life telling me I would never be good enough, that I would never amount to anything. You made it clear that Victoria was superior in every way. Well, now you know the truth. Your perfect daughter is a fraud, a cheat, and a thief. And your disappointing daughter? She is the one with actual integrity and genuine achievements." As I walked back into the house, I heard my mother sobbing and my father demanding explanations from Victoria. But their conversation faded as I climbed the stairs to my room. The fallout from that evening was swift and comprehensive. Within a week, Harvard had revoked Victoria's degree after conducting an investigation into my allegations. Dr. Hamilton lost his tenure and faced both academic disciplinary action and a messy divorce. Victoria was charged with fraud, identity theft, and tax evasion. The criminal proceedings would take months, but the evidence was overwhelming. Most satisfying of all, my parents were forced to confront their own complicity in Victoria's deception. They had been so blinded by their favoritism that they had never questioned her achievements or scrutinized her behavior. They realized that their perfect daughter had been manipulating them just as ruthlessly as she had manipulated everyone else. My relationship with my family would never be the same, but I was content with that outcome. I had spent 18 years being told I was not good enough. And I had proven that not only was I good enough, I was better than they had ever imagined. I had integrity, genuine achievement, and most importantly, I had the intelligence and patience to orchestrate the perfect revenge. As I prepared to leave for Georgetown that fall, I reflected on the lessons I had learned. Karma does not always work on its own timeline, and sometimes it needs a little help from those who have been wronged. Justice is not always delivered by the courts or by fate. Sometimes it must be crafted carefully and executed precisely by those who understand the true nature of the people around them. Victoria's downfall was not just about her own actions. It was about a system that had elevated her based on false achievements while diminishing me based on unfair comparisons. By exposing the truth, I had not only destroyed her facade, but also forced my parents and everyone who knew our family to reconsider their assumptions about success, merit, and worth. The golden child had fallen, and the overlooked daughter had risen to take her place. That is the power of truth, the satisfaction of justice, and the sweet taste of perfectly executed revenge. That was just one story from the vault of karma and justice. If you enjoyed watching entitled people get their comeuppance, make sure you are subscribed to Revenge Janet with notifications on. Hit the like button if you believe that the truth always finds a way to surface, and drop a comment letting me know what you think Victoria deserved. Should karma have hit her even harder? Let me know below, and remember, in this world, justice might be delayed, but it is never denied. Asterisk.